Hey, and welcome back to another Silhouette Studio tutorial. This one's going to be a follow-up on the cut without registration marks video that I made a while back. People have had some questions and concerns about lining up their sticker paper, or anything for that matter. It could be cardstock or whatnot. I usually do it for sticker paper. But getting accurate cuts because of the tolerance in the machine, this start point, both X and Y, are not exactly perfect from machine to machine. And so people follow my directions and they still get a little bit of an off cut on their designs. So I'm going to show what I've done here in getting an accurate position. So this is now exactly where my sticker paper goes for a nice, clean, accurate cut. I'll show you how I accomplish that and get more accurate cuts on your machine. Before we jump in and get started on that, I want to say thank you to everyone so far that has been making this channel and these videos so much more rewarding for me. I'm happy to help out and get people to better appreciate and understand both their machine and the software, but this has been a huge boost in confidence for me as well. I've been extremely busy, and this video took a lot longer than I wanted to get started, but we hit 1,000 subscribers today, which is a lot more than I expected this to ever get to. So I wanted to jump on and make this video despite being kind of backed up on projects at the moment. So with all that said, per a couple of requests or recommendations, I have created a Buy Me a Coffee account if you're interested in donating at all to keeping these videos going. No one needs to feel obligated to do so, but I have created that, and I will put the link to that down in the subscription box if anyone would like to donate at this point, because this channel is not making me any money. I'm just doing this to help out where I can. So all that out of the way, let's jump in and show you how I accomplish this and hopefully get you better cut without registration mark projects. All right, and so the first thing we're going to want to do is start a new project. So we have just our blank area workspace here. I've got the mat set since we're going to be using the mat, and then just the standard 12 by 12 work area to fill that mat. Now what we want to do basically is find on your machine where it thinks 0 on the X here is, and where 0 on the Y here is. And the problem is that some machines, they might be off 1/8 of an inch to this side. So when you get your machine lined up nicely at the 0, 0 point, all of your cuts end up off, we'll say 1/8 of an inch. Some machines more or less to either side. Mine's fairly accurate in that it's basically on both lines, and so that's what I instructed in the previous video. But I've had quite a few people reach out and say that it's helped them get better results, but because of that fluctuation or that acceptable tolerance from Silhouette, it hasn't solved all of their issues. It's just greatly improved. So we're going to find on your machine where that 0 point is on both. So what we're going to do first is draw ourselves a line. And you're going to click and hold Shift to lock that to the X-axis here, horizontal line versus potentially getting it crooked. Hold Shift, get it straight, and click again. And we'll do the same thing with a vertical line. Shift and click for a perfectly vertical one. And we want to get our lines right to the edge of the page to determine where that X-axis and Y-axis are. And so what we're going to want to do first is turn off this constrain media to cutting mat. I've heard it doesn't matter, but in my first test of this, it did throw off my cut just a little bit. But we want to make sure that we're right at the 0 point and not safely inside of it. That sometimes it gives a little bit of a margin. So we have our horizontal line selected. We'll go here and choose to align it to the top of our project. And you'll see that puts our line right across the top here. And I'm going to make that 12 inches. I'm going to unlock this, make it 12 inches because that's what our mat is. And center it to the project. So that is now exactly corner to corner on our X-axis. And now I'll do the same for the Y, but this time we want to align it to the left edge of the project. And again, making it up to the side, 12 inches. I'll make sure that's centered up and down on the page. I might make this a different color just so it's easier to see. How about a nice blue color? Didn't make it blue, did it? I can't really tell, but that's all right. We know it's here. You can select it and see we have a 12-inch line on both sides at our X and our Y. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to jump back to the camera and show you where to go from here. All right, so you can see I've now taken the tape off of my Y and X axes that I had before because we're going to go through this together, so I'll redo mine. All you'll need is a roll of tape. The width doesn't ultimately matter. For mine, I'm using 1-inch tape because I had it laying around, or about 2.5 centimeters if you don't use our silly American measurements. What we're going to do is lay a piece of that tape basically in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, but roughly 50% to the left of the line, 50% to the right, and on our x-axis here, 50% above and 50% below the line. I'll set you down for just a moment, if my little tripod will cooperate. It has a broken leg, so it only kind of wants to stay up. Maybe. Just thinking about it. Stay. All right. Get my tape going here. Yeah, we'll lay one this way. Roughly in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. But you don't want to be off too much because we don't want to miss when we go in for our cut. Okay, going that way. And we'll go with one this way. And across. It's not the best tape. It's off-brand tape. It'll work though. Alright, set that aside. And so now we've got our tape, and you can see that you can kind of see through the tape actually, that my line is right here, basically in the center. And on the top, can't see the line as easily, but same deal. The line is right about here, so just below half with the way that I laid mine out. So you've got your tape like so. You'll want to get your mat loaded like you usually would. Let me see if I can set you down again. Come on. There we go. I've got mine in the farthest position like normal. Make sure that my tape isn't going to get caught on anything. Tuck that edge. Line it up like usual. Oops. Lock my roller down. That side's lined up. That side's lined up. And load my mat. And now with that, we're going to jump back to the computer here and send the cut settings that we just set up. All right, now that we're back into the software side, just a quick double check we've got everything lined up. We've got this guy right on the top and in the center. This one 12 inches on the left edge and right on the line as well. We're running with the 12-inch mat and the generic 12 by 12, which doesn't ultimately matter. It just verifies that we can cut that whole line both directions. So that all looks great. We'll go to send. And it's just thin tape. Yours might be a little bit different, but I'm guessing that blade depth of 1 will be sufficient. Probably more force than we need. I'm going to do, I don't know, 12 or so, somewhere kind of in the middle. And we want to set both of these, looks like they're both set to cut. Yeah, I was hoping they'd get a little bit more bold so we could see them easier, but they're there. So I'm gonna try blade depth 1. If it doesn't cut through, I can do another pass, not the end of the world. So I'm gonna try blade depth of 1, somewhere kind of roughly in the middle for force. And it's straight lines, so speed shouldn't really matter. Bump that up a bit. It's 2 straight lines. And we will send that to the machine. All right, and just a heads up, because mine was being a little weird. Like you saw before, I clicked cut end, cut edge, and these didn't get bold like they usually would and like they are now. I had to go back to my design tab, click to constrain media, and then turn it back off again. I'm not sure why it had the weird quirk, but you can see now it's properly responding. We can click to send that. On my other screen here, you'll see it gives you a warning that some of the lines are overlapping the cut border, which is that red rectangle around the outside. So it's warning us that we're right on the edge and to make sure that's what we want, which it is, so we're going to continue. There's our cut on the X. There's our cut on the Y, and it snagged my tape a little bit. Not a big deal. Sounds like my blade cutter might be open too. It is. It's part of the problem. Put that back so I don't forget for later. Lock that. Lock that. Actually, that's up first. My blade was down. I cut a big vinyl project earlier. Eject that out. And let me set this back down again. Put it back on my little tripod. I've got two ankles. Timber! We have fallen. Didn't mean to throw you. All right. And then we want to take this off of the mat portion. We want to leave the part outside of your adhesive area. It's a little bit hard to get started because it is tape on adhesive, so it's tape to tape basically. So you want to get that started. It should be cut all the way through. Yeah, you can see mine is there. Just keep in mind we started from this corner and went to the 12-inch mark here. So I have tape beyond that. So you'll have to either rip or cut the edge of your tape. And pull this back. Which side's on top? I think it's then backwards. This one's under this one, so I can't go all the way yet. So we'll do this one first. It's in the way. So we'll do this one. Same thing, get it started. Tear the bit that goes past the cut. There we go. Perfect. Peel this guy. Oh, this one's not cut quite all the way through. There we go. It's just a guide. If it's not flawless, it's not the end of the world. There we go. And it didn't cut past the 0 mark on this side, so we'll peel off the excess. There we go. And this way. Oop, I missed my line there. And it's past that 0 point, so that one's in the way. Which is why mine was torn last time. There we go. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we want a good guide for laying our project. Let me get my garbage out of the way. And you can either tuck, rip, or cut this. For right now, I'm just going to tuck it. I'll cut it when I'm not doing the video. And you can see I got a little bit of a spot that didn't quite stay on my cut line. I could go back with my little X-Acto knife and fix that. I got one little one on this side and one little one on this side. But you can see where it is. I've got my score line. It just needs to be peeled off. You can see now we've got our guide here. I'm going to clean up this piece just a little bit. I won't bother boring you through the video with it. Let me cut that and we'll be right back. Alright, so off camera, real quickly, I just cleaned up these two edges. And what worked best for me was just using my standard weeding tool here, because the cut was good. My tape is just very cheap and kind of old. So I just picked that little cut edge, peeled the tab back, picked the edge, peeled it back. So if you have a similar problem, this took me maybe 20 to 30 seconds to clean all that up. And then the only other thing I did off camera was this piece of tape here, if it would focus. It was originally 1/4 to 1/2 inch off the edge of the mat. So I had it rolled around the backside. But just to help eliminate any chance that it might get caught on your roller or up in the machine, it shouldn't hurt anything, but it would ruin our guide and that would defeat the purpose. I went ahead and cut that so it's inside of the mat's boundary now. And then we are ready for our print and cut project. Usually our sticker sheet, like the previous video, this is just a printed piece of cardstock. And you would just line it up to the new guide that you have created, which I'm going to attempt to do one-handed, so bear with me for a second. Luckily, my mat is not very sticky anymore. I've used this one mat exclusively for over a year now. So it is not the stickiest, so I can just kind of weasel everything into place. It's not 100% perfect, but it's close enough for the video. You would take the time to get it perfect. I'm close, but it's not quite right. I would use 2 hands normally and make it perfect. But that should give you much better cutting results. You can see my tape cuts, if it'll focus, you could see, are right on the 0 line on both sides, which is why my cuts have been quite accurate. But I've gotten probably over 20 people at this point contact me and say their machine is cutting, it seems to be more commonly too far to the right. So most likely when you do your tape cut of that origin line, it's going to be slightly to the right of the actual line on your mat, which would in turn move your cut accordingly. So hopefully that clears up any issues people are having with good but not perfect cuts. Again, the machines do have a little bit of a tolerance, so it won't be perfect ever, but it will dial it in. And that's the same whether you use registration marks or not. Even if it properly reads them, there is a tolerance, and you're going to get stickers that are better than others. But this will make it a better cut because the machine and reality will be the same, that this is 0, this is 0, 0. And it will work from there correctly. So you'll have much more consistently good stickers. So with that, I think the follow-up video is complete. And again, like I said in the beginning, thank you so much for everyone up to this point that has been encouraging, appreciative, and vocal, whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in between. The criticisms and things to make the channel better, and everything has just been very helpful. It's been rewarding for me, and I know it's been helpful for a lot of you that are watching. So I'm glad that everyone is benefiting from these videos. I plan to make quite a few more. I will again leave that link for the Buy Me a Coffee website down below for anyone who might be interested. But again, no pressure. I'm not expecting anything, but it was suggested that I make the account, so I went ahead and did that. So with that, we'll wrap this one up. Thank you always for watching. Thank you for those who subscribed. Happy crafting, and we'll see you in the next one.